That's the reason why there's a lack thereof of growth or there's stagnation.
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your October 2019 reading. I am Princess India. If you are new, if you're family, welcome back, my friend. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to start with our pick a card for you guys extended. Go ahead and pick a card, 1, 2, or 3. And if you feel at the end of the general over here on YouTube that you need something more specific, you would use the card that you picked to be your group over there on Vimeo, where we're going to go into a different I can't talk right now. Where we're going to go into a different spread and kind of break down what it is we have over here and make the message a little bit more specific for our groups. And what I wanted to tell you guys that I got for you intuitively, man. Because you've been showing up and everybody else reading Aquarius. I don't know why. I don't usually remember anything I say in these readings, but for some reason, very specific things I've said in you guys' readings like months ago were just like coming back to my memory like that. It's so fascinating. But I feel for you guys this month. It's like, I don't even know how to say that. It's kind of like there's going to be, okay, I'm seeing it like this, right? I'm seeing it like a road. So it's almost like you guys are coming on an entrance ramp on the interstate and there's another car that's coming on, but it's not like a direction type of thing. It's like how Spirit is showing it to me is like a intermingling of energy, so to speak. So it's more or less like you guys have been on one particular path or you're on this particular journey, but it's like there's something else that comes on your path, and it's not for you and this thing to go side by side with each other. It's almost for you to enmesh with this particular thing and create like a new element or something of the sort. So, I mean, this could manifest in a couple of different ways. I mean, it could be a person. I mean, it could be something like you're getting married. So it's like that conversion would be like going from single to being in a relationship, or being single to being married, moving in with someone, like having a roommate, you know what I mean? Or, you know, working 2 jobs, or working a job and starting a business, or having a business and getting another job. It's like it's 2 things, you doing one thing and it's another thing that's coming and needing to enmesh with this thing. And I feel like the reason why that's coming out is because it would be the thought, and I guess that's why Spirit showed it to me that way. It's like the rational thing one would think is if something else came on my path, it's usually going to be, I'm going to ride side by side with this thing. But I feel like this thing is not necessarily something you're missing. I think it's something that you're missing that you're not yet aware that you're missing. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense to y'all. I don't know, Aquarius. Anywho, if you pick card number 1, we have complacency. If you pick card number 2, we have isolation. If you pick card number 3, we have perception. Ooh, these are very interesting. Root chakra, throat chakra, and heart chakra. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. But that's what I'm seeing. It's like I feel like the logical thing to do would be whenever this element, person, thing, whatever comes into your path, the thought would be to go side by side with it. But I'm seeing that there should be some sort of enmeshment or intermingling with this thing, like integrating it into your present path in so many words. So I hope that makes sense. I mean, I can even see that with you know, like a calling or something like that, because that's been a theme that pops up a lot. Like, you know, if you're established in a career and it's like feeling the desire for something bigger than, you know, what you currently do. Like, say if you work in, I don't know, like just a regular private sector business type of deal, and it's like, you know, you've mastered your career field or you're doing well, but it's like suddenly this hunger for more than what you have, or different than what you're doing, or something that has more meaning behind like not necessarily the job, but it's like yearning for something that's like purpose driven that you could sink your teeth into. You know what I'm saying? So it's more or less not necessarily abandoning one for the other. It's integrating that. And I think for some of you, it may just be that y'all are there right now, you know? And you just need to be told, like, you don't have to abandon one for the other. Like, you can do both at once. However that resonates with you, Aquarius. But the overall energy that we have for the month of October, we have the Knight of Cups, daydreams. This is challenged by the Hierophant in the reverse. Interesting. Past influence, we have the Strength in the reverse. Interesting. The below influence that we have is the Queen of Wands in the reverse. Oh, gee. And your above energy is Temperance. That's like that alchemical thing. Okay. All right. Going forward, we have the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. This is very similar to Sag energy. You guys might be dealing with Sagittarius. We do have Temperance up here. We got Leo, we got Taurus. Just saying. Throwing that out there, people. Throwing it out there. But here's the thing, Aquarius. What it's looking like is, I feel like you guys, for some of you, it could be an escape. Yeah, it is. It's an escape into an ideal or passion, desire, dream. Maybe sitting at your desk zoning out and thinking about where you would rather be. Or, like I said, flirting with the idea of maybe another career path or a divine purpose or something of the sort. But this energy to me feels heavily like self-denial. And self-denial in the sense to where it's like a controlling energy, but not with other people, it's with yourself. So it's almost having yourself on a very strict regimen, like a strict schedule every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta get up at this time, go to the gym for this time, gotta be at work for this time, to get my coffee at this time, to sit at my desk at this time, to work this time, and then I'm gonna get off from work. It's like a very structured, regimented way of being, right? And I think for some of you, this is something that was incorporated, and this is kind of me digging in your business. I'm just saying, you know, because this feels like very, very past tense. Maybe when you guys were like in college or something like that, or when you were younger, you were very irresponsible. And when you came to a point in your life where you needed to get your shit together, it's like you almost like reparented yourself to where you put yourself on this schedule and this regimen to make sure that you showed up to work on time, to make sure your bills got paid and so on and so forth. But I feel it's almost as if this structure of this regimen has, it's stifling you. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's almost in the sense to where your routine or how you're approaching things has stifled you. And this is so weird how I'm seeing this, but it's like how I said, you like could be sitting at your desk daydreaming. It's almost as if you think about if your boss comes in while you're daydreaming, is like, hey, get back to work. I feel like that's like what you do to yourself. So it's like you could start kind of trailing off and thinking about something, and your brain's like, hey, get back to work. And you're like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay, boss, get back to work. But it's a stifling energy. And the thing is here, I understand the logic behind why there are those restraints, why you set those boundaries for yourself. Because I say that for me, I have to do the same thing for myself. It's like when you know yourself and you know like what you do. Because like for me, you know, tell you guys a little bit about myself. I'm a person where I have to get up, like in the morning, I need to get up at least maybe 2 or 3 hours prior to me needing to be somewhere. Because the issue for me isn't so much getting dressed, you know, because I'm a minimalist, you know what I'm saying? I don't put that much effort into myself during like a regular day, you know? For me, it's meandering, you know? Like I'm the person who'll get up, make, you know, a cup of coffee, go walk outside, sit on the porch, you know, drink my coffee, meditate, start reading something that's very profound and start thinking like, oh, wow, it's very interesting. And then I'm just going to want to roam around the house like, oh, that is so interesting. Let me take some notes on that. And it's like time will pass. And I'll be like in flow, but then the next thing that I know, it's like 10 minutes before I need to be somewhere, right? So I'm not one of those people that can get up like 30, 45 minutes before I need to like leave for work, hop in the shower, hop out, throw some clothes on and leave. Like that's not going to happen here, right? But I add those additional hours because I know how I am. And then that starts my day off better because, you know, I've gotten all my little creative juices out of my brain that came overnight. And then I can go on with my day, you know? So, and let's not even talk about if I get a download. That's a whole nother ordeal, you know? But that's kind of the energy that I feel for you guys. So it's like, that's understood. But the whole thing is with the temperance being over you guys spread, it's saying even with that, there needs to be a balance. Because for Aquarius, it's this need for, I don't even want to say need for control, but it's like whatever structure or regimen that you guys are on or what path that you guys are on, the structure that you've created, it's stifling your creativity, it's stifling your flexibility, and it's not really serving you anymore at this point. You know, I mean, of course, it's getting you to work on time, but it's like another facet of yourself is being denied in a sense. And I feel that's more like your feminine energy, meaning in the sense of like your receptivity, your intuition. It's acting a lot out of like logic, action, achievement, which is the masculine energy, and it's neglecting that side of you that needs to sit, commune with spirit, that needs to receive, you know what I mean? That needs to be nurtured and so on and so forth, right? And I feel like with the Queen of Wands in the reverse, it's creating a sense of unfulfillment, and that's in a sense manifesting. It can manifest in a couple of different ways, actually. For some of you, it could manifest as you having control over yourself and needing to have control of people outside of you, or because you're not in tune with your feminine energy, it's like not wanting to connect with other people. So it's like being very cold and cerebral with people or in your dealings with people. And it's not like just romantic, but I mean just people in general. Or it could be a feeling of being unfulfilled. So it's, how can I say it? It's like being unfulfilled or feeling a void inside, but the methods through which you are attempting to fill this void, it's like temporaryism. So it could be food, it could be shopping, you know, it could be just getting attention from someone, like, or attention seeking, period, like wanting to go, you know, out with friends, not really so much because you want to enjoy yourself, it's because you feel like something's missing. Or even to the point to where it's just like, you know, sexcapades and things of the sort, because it's like there's a lack thereof of intimacy with the self. So it's trying to replicate what it is that's missing within with some sort of external force, right? But it's like I still feel it's like it's a vacancy of how do I want to say that? It's like not seeing, like how I'm saying that what you're doing externally is a reflection of something internally, or seeing how you're stifling yourself. It's like you guys haven't made that connect, because the only thing that you know is that you're longing for something and you're desiring for something, but you're not really seeing what decisions have I made that have got me up to this point, or why it is that this is even coming up now, so to speak. But like I said with Sagittarius, so if y'all have Sagittarius in your chart or you're dealing with Sagittarius or something like that, you might want to look at that. Your reading got extra deep. But anywho, but with the challenge being the Hierophant in the reverse, the same thing I was telling Sag, because this came out in their extended of like, and this was in the position of why everything was happening. It's a need to get reacquainted with your beliefs and your values, right? Because the sense of unfulfillment that you guys are feeling, the imbalance, the stagnation, the fact that whatever it was that used to give you a rise just isn't giving you a rise anymore. The reason why all of that is coming up, or why you guys just flat out feel unfulfilled, is because you're out of alignment with home base, right? And your home base being what you believe about yourself, about life, whatever, in your personal value system. So it's not acting in integrity. Because like I said with Sag, when you're acting in integrity, you know what it is that you value, and you're making choices and decisions and acting in alignment with your values. So I feel that when it comes to an external world sense, like you guys showing up to work on time, being a good parent, being a good spouse, being a good partner, being a good friend, I feel like you guys are filling those roles and you have your little checks and balances in place in order to do that. But I feel in your personal internal sense, there's a level of unfulfillment. And for some of you, this is literally because some of you are denying a specific call to be a spiritual teacher. That's not for everybody. But it's almost as if, like, I'm just going to say this how I'm hearing it. Cutting spirit out of the equation, right? It's like, okay, a person has a call to be a spiritual teacher, which means that you have a certain energy signature, which means you always have a tendency to find yourself in leadership positions. People have a tendency to listen to what it is that you say, even if what you're saying really don't make that much sense, but you got charisma, so people are just like, oh, what they're saying must be right, you know? Or if you're in certain positions, you find yourself, like, you know, in certain environments, like say if you were in a group and the group had no leader, you would always end up assuming the position of leader. Or if you got called for jury duty, you 9 times out of 10 would be the foreman of the jury, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you always find yourself in a place to where not necessarily that people follow you, but people kind of look to you as some sort of authority even without a title, right? Or that's the way that you act and engage with people. Now, if we cut spirit out of this element, right? Because this is a very like cerebral cognitive kind of energy. But it's like if we're stifling this feminine side, which is our receptor, our antenna from spirit, and we're only acting in the masculine side, that's where this frequency that you have as a spiritual teacher will still draw people to you. It will still put you in circumstances and situations where you can be in a position of leadership. But if you're not getting your downloads from spirit or you're not attuned to the spiritual realm, it's almost like the opportunities that are being given to you aren't panning out the way that they should. So it could feel like you're putting time, energy, and effort into something, and either it's backfiring or it just seems to kind of bow out or stagnate after a certain amount of time. And it's because the missing element that's needed is this feminine energy, which is the receptivity from spirit. So it's kind of like seeing all of these cards in the reverse. Like, yeah, dog, this is very interesting. It's almost like a need to reincorporate spirit in your life, because if, and this isn't like for all Aquarius, this is just another little group of people I'm picking up on. But it's like there's been a cut off from your spiritual practice or a connection with spirit or your belief system. Maybe you left the church or something like that. I don't know what. But there's some sort of break in one's belief system that was a foundation for you. And I feel like I've said this to y'all before. But this spiritual energy or this connection to spirit is the missing element to your success with this. And specifically, I'm feeling it as being called as a spiritual teacher. So what it ends up becoming something very 3D in the sense that it becomes attention seeking or needing recognition or looking at how many likes you get and needing so many people to like your stuff or needing validation from people. And it's because it's being done in the wrong energy, if that's making sense. Like, it's not being done for, like, I don't want to say selfless reasons, but it's not being done for the heart of wanting to help people, or not being done for, like what they used to say in church, like for the glorification of spirit, you know? It's not being done for those reasons. It's being done for self-glorification, because one is feeling vacant within or is trying to fill a void within, if that's making sense. And that's the reason why it's almost like things keep stagnating, because it's like spirit doesn't want you to pass go, you know, or keep going with things the way that they are now, because that's not what you're here to do. So the whole focus for my Aquarius people for the month of October is cultivating a balance of receptivity and action, and not just responding in one particular action-oriented energy, right? It's a need to be divinely inspired. You know what I mean? And even if it's something as simple as that, if you guys are feeling uninspired, like say if you are already a spiritual teacher, and it's like you feel like you're not getting any new ideas on content or your sermon or whatever, it's because of you guys stepping out of alignment with your truth, your values. You know what I mean? And it could be something like getting swept up into popularity, because I know that's something that a lot of pastors deal with now. It's like looking at the fact of what's popular, like what people want to hear about, you know what I mean? And not really standing firm in what it is that you're specifically called to do, but trying to like kind of be hip or, you know, keep up with trends and things of the sort. And having done that for so long that, and this is similar to how it was with Sag, where it's like you're kind of out of alignment with what your truth is, and that's the reason why it's not bearing fruit. That's the reason why there's a lack thereof of growth, or there's stagnation, is because it's either at the heart of it, you're doing this from a place of lack and you're looking for some type of validation, or it's just the simple fact that you've burned yourself out by stifling yourself, by, you know, like forgetting about your passions or getting so far off base with your passions, and it's a need to get reacquainted with that. So I hope that's making sense, y'all. But you can go ahead and ask a yes or no question. I'll go ahead and throw these little dice of resonance here, you know what I'm saying? That's interesting. All right, we have Libra. We have Mars or male. The answer to your question is yes. We have family and Leo. So Libra, Leo, Mars or male, family, and the answer to your question is yes. And I'm going to throw the dice that have no name. The dice that have no name. We have Sun, the number 2, and Virgo. Interesting. Let's see. The Sun. All right. Father, masculine principle, the Hermetic principle, the law of polarity, your infinite self-mastery. Start working on strengthening the weak points of your sun sign. So for Aquarius, what you would do with this is just simply Google weaknesses of Aquarius, right? And whatever those weaknesses are, like the natural, like, you know, with your personality type in alignment with your sun sign, whatever those weaknesses are, it's putting time, energy, and effort into strengthening your weaknesses, right? That's something that we do. I do with a lot of my clients in therapy. It's like when we're doing personal development, it's like in order to fully develop to self-master, which would be the strength in upright as opposed to in the reverse, you know what I'm saying? Because that's an, you know, unbalanced form of mastery, pseudo power and whatnot, or just toxic masculinity in general, you know what I'm saying? Domination. Anyway, that's not here nor there. But the whole thing is that to become a more well-rounded person, it's like your modes of operation that are like secondary to you, it's putting time, energy, and effort into those to strengthen those muscles so that you're more well-rounded as a person. So it's like for me, like I'm an introvert, right? So it's like for me, most of my energy is focused, especially in relation to other people or how I relate to other people, is more or less my introverted intuition. So it's like I'm getting intel from spirit and it's fixated on, you know, my perception and, you know, just like a whole massive group of patterns that I'm relating things to from personal experience, from other people's experience. So I have a tendency to not pay attention to small details outside of myself. You know what I mean? Like, just like with my car, you know, there could be like a scuff on my car that has been there for months that everyone else has noticed. And I realized like 6 months later, like, somebody hit my car. And it's like, dude, that's been there for 6 months. And I'm like, it has? And that's just because I'm not very focused on what's going on outside of me. So that's something I would want to work on, because I would be a prime candidate to get robbed. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about with this. So with the number 2, you guys' arcana for the month is the High Priestess. And this talks about diversity, blooming fertility, self-reflection, and asking yourself, what are you manifesting? What are you manifesting, and where are you manifesting from, Aquarius? You know what I'm saying? These are all things we want to ask ourselves this month. But anyway, that has been your reading, Aquarius. I'm going to go over to Vimeo to get into you guys 3 groups. So if you're about that life, follow me over there. If not, I still love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later. The thing that I heard as soon as I turned the camera off was, each one of your values is a brick on the path towards your personal fulfillment. Like the thing that's holding you guys back from pursuing your path to fulfillment, that's your path in essence to fulfillment. All 3 groups, there's a similarity that I see in all of you guys' energy. Like group 1 people, you're still feeling unfulfilled in group 1 because you're not now for my group 2 people. And that is what I feel is stifling you guys and burning you guys out in a sense. For group 3, there's some level of something or someone that you have to leave behind.